Just Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host, Fondue. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about 2 more cheeses that we didn't know.
Nice.
We're going to find out what tears and belly buttons have to do with cheese.
What? Why?
We're going to talk about a tragic tractor-trailer fire.
Aw.
And, of course, we're going to tell a very cheesy joke.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned for Season 2, Episode 15 of Just Cheesy, the podcast. So cheesy, this week's cheese comes from Paraguay.
What's it called?
It's called Queso Paraguay.
Original.
Queso Paraguay is made as part of a 3-part process.
Ooh.
They treat the rennet,
Okay.
they make the curd,
Sure.
and they manufacture the cheese. This is all according to Wikipedia.
Oh.
The rennet gets put into a large container
Okay.
of sour orange or lemon juice.
Yum.
It soaks for about 3 or 4 hours, and then it's put in the sun to dry.
Okay.
It's added to the milk to create the curds, and then the curd is squeezed until all the liquid is gone.
Oh.
It's pressed into rectangular shapes called cheese dishes.
Aw.
And in an article by Lizette Bowen on the website curiouscuisiniere.com,
Okay.
they talk about a cold weather flatbread made of Queso Paraguay. It's called Beiju.
Doubt it.
No, seriously, I think it really is because they actually have the pronunciation on the website, even
Sure.
though it's spelled Mbeju.
Okay.
But it's made of cassava or yucca,
Okay.
lots of cheese, and it's held together with a splash of milk.
Yum.
And because they use cassava flour, it's actually gluten-free.
Ooh.
According to this article, it says you add the flour, butter,
Okay.
salt, and cheese to a bowl. You roll it in your finger until it becomes crumbs.
Crumbs.
Add enough of the beiju mixture to cover the bottom of a pan,
Okay.
almost like a pancake, and then you
Yum.
flip it.
Ooh.
It looks kind of like a rice cake, and they say it's served with a cup of coffee or a hot beverage.
Yum.
Our next cheese can be found in Syria and Lebanon.
Ooh.
According to Hadia's LebaneseCuisine.com, Shanklish,
Ah.
I believe that is the pronunciation,
Sure.
is a Middle Eastern version of blue cheese.
Yum.
And according to the website, this is the only cheese that's aged in the region.
Really?
It's thought that Shanklish may have originated from Kurdistan
Ooh.
because Shanklish is a compound word derived from Kurdish stan, meaning terracotta pot, and karish,
Okay.
which is a Bedouin term for fermented milk.
Wow.
And apparently the making of the cheese is very labor intensive.
Ooh.
You need to form curds, separate it from the whey,
No way.
strain it till dry, and salt and season it.
Ooh.
It's then shaped into tennis-sized balls
Wow.
and allowed to dry in the sun.
Huh.
And then the aging stage, those balls are put into a tight glass jar away from sunlight,
Okay.
and they develop, I'm quoting here, rot on the surface,
Ew.
and that takes about a month. They say the taste intensifies with age and it becomes a little bit more sharp.
Sure.
Then the balls are scraped to remove the rot,
Ew, gross.
right?
Yuck.
And then they're rolled in za'atar, paprika, or Aleppo pepper.
Okay, yum.
Some people flavor it with fennel,
Oh.
cumin, or even anise
Ooh.
because it's pungent alone.
Huh.
It's typically served as a meze dish.
Ooh.
It's eaten with chopped tomato, onion, olive oil, and sometimes parsley.
Yummy.
Shanklish, not a sponsor.
Nope.
So someone else's ad will go right here. I've got a story that might actually knock your socks off.
Okay.
If you recall, back in Season 1, Episode 3, we talked about Brevibacterium linens. B. linens is present on the human body, and it's the bacteria that makes your feet stink.
Ew.
This bacteria is used often in wash rind and smear ripened cheeses such as Munster and, you guessed it, Limburger.
Ew.
Back in 2013, there is a scientist that had a new idea.
Really?
According to Wired.com and the website Agapicus.com, Christina Agapicus was a biologist working on her postdoc at UCLA
Okay.
when she teamed up with Sissel Tolas, an odor artist
What?
and researcher from Norway, to craft 11 cheeses from bacteria found on the human body.
Ew.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
It says here each wheel is a microbial sketch of the subject's microbial makeup in the
Okay.
form of And I'm quoting them, delicious looking cheese.
No.
But let me tell you where they got the bacteria.
Okay.
Armpits,
No.
mouths,
Oh.
belly buttons,
What the?
hands,
Nope.
feet,
No.
toes,
Blech.
ears,
Blech.
and noses.
Holy cow.
Agreed. And among the donors, they had artists, scientists, and cheesemakers.
Interesting.
The bacteria was inoculated into fresh, pasteurized, organic whole milk
Okay.
and incubated overnight at 37 degrees Celsius. The milk was made into curds, strained and pressed,
Okay.
and yielded unique smelling fresh cheeses.
Ugh.
They said so even if the bacteria from a human's armpit sweat was used,
Ew.
it doesn't necessarily mean that the dairy will smell or taste like an armpit.
Ugh.
They said the main point of the project is that these are just normal cheeses.
No, not normal.
They said there's much more to a person's body odor and a cheese odor than the few strains they collected and grew and put into the cheese.
Yuck.
And they said you probably won't die if you eat it, but taste it at your own risk.
Nope.
I don't think I've ever been more ready to say this, but it's time for my favorite segment.
Me too. This week in cheese.
Apparently on August 18th at about 1 p.m. in Jasper County, Missouri, there was an accident with a tractor trailer.
Oh no.
According to KOAMnewsnow.com, a driver said he noticed smoke in his rearview mirror. He pulled over and used his fire extinguisher to try to put out the flames.
Oh no.
He unhooked the semi and quickly pulled forward, but the trailer was consumed by fire.
Huh.
The entirety of his load, 43,000 pounds of, you guessed it, cheese,
Aw.
was a total loss.
Oh no.
They said the fire was so intense that the concrete along the shoulder was damaged.
What?
Fortunately, the driver was okay,
Good.
but the cheese expired.
Aw.
And Jasper County must be a pretty popular area for cheese
Really?
because back in 2020, there was a news article about a truck carrying 43,000 pounds of cheese actually went into the ditch and crashed.
Oh no.
So to all you truckers out there, if you're carrying cheese and you're in Jasper County, please be careful with our precious cargo.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
What kind of cheese costs an arm and a leg?
I don't know.
Limburger cheese. Get it? Limburger?
Oh, good gravy. It's so silly.
Oh, come on now. You know it was just a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy, the podcast. We appreciate
Thanks.
all of the listeners from around the world.
Stay cheesy, everybody.